think I can see. Can you just forward that?
There we are. Okay, now I know that on this particular case, looking down on it, the cover is, I think, 50, might be 40 actually. So I'm going to go P-edit and I'll turn this into a, click on here and go yes, J for join, and once again we'll grab all that and we've made it into a P-line. So if I offset that by 40, which I'm pretty sure the cover was, I've now got a cover line. I'm doing all this on one layer because I can, but let's say I was drawing this bar here, the green one. So I'm going to do I'll set to the green layer. I'll do a P line from here to here. Now I can move this anywhere I like along here, and I'll go right click properties and start segment 16. I'll check that in a minute. End segment 16, global width 16. I could have actually just gone for global width, but never mind. I wanted to be different.
I was asking.
Okay. Now, that bar that I just drew is these bars here, right? I don't have to draw it up exactly from one of those bars, but I do need the delimiters to end exactly there. So I'm going to do a line from the centre of this. You've drawn your donuts in the right place. And I'll do another line from the centre here. Alright, I'm going to copy this from that point, end point there, to the intersection of this bar here. Now, of course, you're all saying to me, that's way too big to eliminate a bar, and yes it is. So I just put a couple of lines across. No particular length, but if you can make it similar to my drawing, which is, it's probably a wee bit too big, probably about that. And I'll just go trim, my favourite command, trim, and get rid of the construction lines. And I've got my first eliminator bar, and I'll copy that over to the other side from the end point of there perpendicular to the end point of there. Well, there we are, there's the two delimiters. I'll probably switch to another layer like dimension or whatever. We'll have a go at that. Dimension, linear, from the midpoint here over to the midpoint over here. And of course it's giving us a number. We don't want that number. What we do want is just a blank. So I'm double clicking on that and it should come up in a minute. And just back arrow or just space. No. Back arrow and click. Okay. No. Usually a couple of spaces does it. That's it. 2 spaces then. Now the circle here will be from the intersection point there, and it's a 16mm bar, so why don't I make it 32? It's about right, and we're done. Okay. Delete that. The eliminator's in place. So all we need to do is put some text on here. Now the problem you're going to have is that you're going to have overlapping bars. So that creates its own little problem. Get into that in a minute. First of all, your bar schedule will have counted all the bars at one end and all the bars at the other end. So your bar schedule will have twice as many bars as you're going to be calling up on here. So if there was 18 bars on your bar schedule, you'll be calling up 9 and 9. If there was 100 bars on your bar schedule, you're calling up 50 and 50. So don't make the mistake of just copying your bar schedule, because the bar schedule doesn't always reflect on the plan exactly the same. So an easy mistake to make it. You do need to label this on a layer called cover, because I like to turn it on and off to make sure you put your eliminators in the right place. The other thing that I'd take out of this excuse me, is your sideways bar. You'll notice that it's up against the other one. So you draw a line from the from the centre of that bar there. Actually, no, we'll do the yellow one. Okay, so the yellow one goes from cover to cover, but we're looking down on it. So the yellow one will go from P-line from near, do that again, P-line from near and perpendicular to the other side. It's on a layer called 1201. P-edit, this time I'm just going to do the global width. Comes out the same. Width, I don't even know how big this bar is. How big is it? 12, is it? P-edit. Width W12, enter. Alright. Now, that bar bends down. No, sorry, it comes up towards us, doesn't it? Comes up, it comes, well, when you're looking on top, it's going down, and then it curves. So what a lot of people do and make the mistake of doing is they do a donut. So they go donut, and the internal diameter 0.001, outside diameter, did you say 12? 12, yeah. So there's my donut. So where do I put it? Well, a lot of people just go move, and they do it from the centre to that point there. Is that correct? No. A lot of people then get really clever and they move it 6 more mil. So there it is. Is that correct? No. Nope. And even more cleverer, they offset it by 6. And they trim this bit here off. That's what it looks like, because the bar cannot go past the cover. You understand that? And it'll be the same on the other side too. It's going on and off. Feels like an eclipse. Somewhere here. Okay. offset that 6, trim it, move that 6. And of course we'll put the delimiter down the other end as well. You want to know how to label in a sectional view. That's how we label it. You want to know what it's like in the real world doing these for drawings. You always show 2 views of the same bar. So you're always going to know that's a U bar, because if you're in a drawing office they would make you draw that view as well as that view up there. Where are you likely to get a job doing this? For a steel company that do reinforcing. All around Auckland there's 2 of them, because you're doing it ready for the steelie to lay it. In a consultancy, they tend to just show 1 bar, how far it goes, and what sort of diameter it is, and the spacing. They don't worry about how many there are. You don't normally have to calculate that in a consultancy, but if you're working for a design and build company, yes, you would have to work out the exact amount and do a bar sheet. Did I do it in London? Did I what? Must have gone through so many pencils doing it back in the day. I did it on probably about 30 or 40 bridges in Saudi Arabia, which probably never got used properly as bridges because they were out in the middle of the desert. So, but it paid the Kiwis some money, and it put Prince Fawa's name on the side of the bridge. So there's 2 people who were happy. Is anyone here from Saudi Arabia? No. Yeah, they call the bridges, the rivers over there, wadis. And it was up to the prince to convince us that they were actually water, that one day they might fill up with water. So he wrote this big long story that they would fill up with water, so there was an importance to need a big bridge over the top rather than just do a motorway through the sand. And it got approved by whoever, and yeah, he got his bridges with his name on it. So if he was prince in those days in the 80s, I guess he must have become the king at some stage. Anyway, I don't think I'll ever get my name on a bridge, unless it's one they hang people from. Okay, the other thing here is to note the use of colour. It's a good idea to colour your bars, and a different, you notice the layers I used. I mean, I can identify their diameter and identify the bars pretty quickly. So you know you've got everything on the right layer, and you know what bars go where. So really the very first thing is the reinforcing schedule, because if you've got that and you've got what the bar mark is, like 1201 or something like that, you've got the spacing. Always put the nominal spacing on there, 250, 200, whatever. Don't put the actual spacing, because when you calculate the bars it'll end up at a funny number. Like instead of 200 it might be 196.3 or something. Don't put that on there. And then of course the far face, near face, bottom or top goes on there at the end. And then move on to here. Now you will also have to remember a couple of other things. Do not put any dimensions on here. It's a sectional view. And do not show that view in the viewport. So when you do your viewport, make sure you only show the plan view, please. I would expect about 7 or 8 notes The concrete section on here is 17 pages. I'm sure you can find some notes on there that'll help on your drawing. But you can't put steel or wood notes on there because we're only showing the reinforced concrete. Just out of interest and just to pull apart this design. Normally, when we do things like channels like this for water racing, or we do retaining walls or anything that goes on and on and on and on, we normally stick out a whole bunch of bars ready to be joined onto for the next section. And this one doesn't, so this would be a complete section that will join on to the other end with another one that looks like similar to this. Now I've already hinted at the unequal angle. You